Anyway, you might see some familiar faces on this as well. Let's just watch.
We have art director Dan Eder and combat designer Paul Rip.
Hey, we know that guy.
Welcome.
They let Rip make a fighting game. It's funny. He actually is Inner Circle now. Inner Circle used to be a joke. He actually is Inner Circle now. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to see how Rip's vision. Yeah, we get to see Rip's vision as a tag fighter.
Well, fabulous. Talk to us a little bit about the mechanics of the game. We didn't really see a lot of the HUD.
So that's the thing with this game. This game has a lot of mechanics. It's very like system and mechanically robust. I'm cool with that, right? Because if having systems and mechanics for you to dig into and to develop the gameplay over time, that's something that for the health of the game can be good, right?
Sure.
You're definitely not going to be able to be doing everything, you know. I think I had, like an hour to play? I definitely was doing like less than 20% of shit, but you could at least like pick out certain things, you know?
You want easy access to your assist, essentially. So our active tag system allows you to extend your combos using your teammates, and there's also a two-way dynamic that happens across there because of our Killer Instinct background, where you're able to break those assists and actually stop those combos midway through.
Yeah, so that's an important distinction to make too. A lot of the backbone of their crew comes from Killer Instinct. You got to think, now that there are... Why is he making this face with his pause frame?
I'm going to come back to that Killer Instinct.
Now that... That's a... Because of the presence of all that Killer Instinct creative DNA, a lot of that seeps through the gameplay in this. And it's in some of those ways, that's really what's going to make this game stand out. There are some specific KI creatively driven mechanics and system ideas, if they tune them correctly, will be very fun to watch play out. And I think if you are a former KI player, you'll be able to see those system mechanics and you'll be able to like, it'll kind of scratch that familiar itch for you, I think.
So you're not really limited in your combos in terms of, you know, this many ground bounces, this many wall bounces. You can do however many you want as long as you fit into that combo meter.
Yeah, so this is something that he showed me in when I played the build too. It's funny. So for example, you can do a heavy attack, and that combos. But the gauge for the combo meter will fill very quickly. The combo system, you're very free. You can do whatever you want, but the combo will naturally be short if you don't use mechanics that will lower the gauge. And so that's a way where they can facilitate and incentivize players to try to use different routes and different tools to make the route, you know, make their combos fatter or elongate them with ground bounces, wall bounce, whatever. And so you can kind of like give the players options in that way, then it create variations. What is going to be difficult is like what he was saying with that happened with KI, is if you got good enough at breaking, a lot of players, in order to circumvent that, they would not engage with the system. They would do a shorter combo that ended in knockdown, so they still had control in an Okizeme situation or something like that. So they would kind of just like not engage with the system. So they have to make it to where, balance-wise, the reward for you using variations and playing that game, playing with the mechanic, the reward is so high to where you're willing to gamble a little bit. Or you as the player can make the decision, no, I don't want to gamble, I'm willing to take... You know what I'm saying? Like, more or less, that I think is where the balance and where they're really going to have to start, like, this, the post-release, they'll do a lot more adjustments and tuning with.
You know,
but there's still a lot of time before this even comes out too.
How we make them feel unique. We do want the characters to have the same.
That's going to be really challenging, I think, just because of the nature of some of the characters in this series. That's where my head goes to. Save it for a little bit. But I'm thinking of characters that I really like from the series that are not just like jacked up Superman kind of shit, you know?
So we are creating an original story for the game with the help of the creators again, which is really cool. So, you know, how that's gonna play into the story remains to be seen. But again, we're always looking for ways to be creative with the characters.
Original story means Angstrom Levy's involved, I'm assuming, right? Can he be? Can he be? Maybe. I hope. We'll see. Anyway. But if it's some magic hodgepodge shit, think about what this means for potential cosmetics. If you know anything about the series, you know there's variants. there's variants. Think about what that means for like presentation potential. skins and stuff like that. There's a ton of ways that they could expand, not necessarily even expand the roster, but just specifically like costumes, cosmetics, all that stuff. There's tons of options of what they can do.
Why don't you guys bring some of KI into Attack Fighter? Because that's never been done. So then the next one I get a DM from Michael Lett, he's like, this could work. He's like,
That's a good idea. Hey, look at Rip with the ideas. Anything that they could do stuff like that where it's unique shifts to make themselves stand out. So this is one match, and as you can see, like the speed of the game, it's pretty quick, man. It's pretty quick. Specials are done with one button, and they're done with directions. The fact that it's 8-way air dash too on characters is like, it does a lot for being able to mix. It's a fast game, definitely. Ground dashes were cancelable into crouch with the characters that I got a chance to play, which means you can fucking fly on the ground in this game. If you are a player who liked movement in traditional Versus style series where you can, like wave dash along the ground, movement in this game felt very good. You will like the movement in this game. Movement, in my opinion, is king. So Max says like first impressions are the biggest thing, right? And that's true, obviously. You eat with your eyes, of course. The first time I played this game, I was like, oh, you can move. Like that kind of thing. So they get that. There you see snapback. So who was asking about earlier? It's actually called snapback too. So this game also has a push block as well. So you saw Adam Eve there. Watch when she glows like that while blocking. See how Mark gets pushed back? See, this is what I was talking about. EX air dash. That's an EX dash. So he jumps up, EX dash, and air grab. You can combo after grabs and air grabs in this game. Overall, I think it's an interesting game with some interesting specific angles. But like I said, where it really hits are, in my opinion, the combo theory. Combo theory and, of course, the breakers. The movement feels good. I can say that. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the trend of one-button specials or whatever. But with the way this was integrated, seems like it might be all right. It's promising, and I'm curious to see where they go with it and how they develop it over the course of the next year, how much they're able to polish it aesthetically, but then also develop it on these fandom fronts. That, I think, is what's most important. An IP like this one, like DBFZ was, like JoJo's is, like Hokuto no Ken. If I'm a fan of the series, can I see something in the game that's going to make me go, fuck yeah, they got this shit? That's going to be really important. They got a lot of great people working in the studio, obviously. Not even just the KI folks, but just people who are really into the IP anyway. So if they can figure out a way to satisfy those guys, I'm sure they're going to be in good graces. Now, the fun part. Let's talk business. So far, what are we looking at, bro? We got like Thule. She's beating you with the braids. You got Mark. You got Adam Eve. We got to talk about this. Where the boys at? Where the boys at, and how you going to make these characters in there? If we going to do the wish list it, this is what I'm looking for as an Invincible fan. We need the boys. We need them. Next on the list, they got to make it happen. I need them in the detective garb. We need an alt costume. I think these are two of my favorite characters from the series. Now, the elephant in the room. Okay, so if you guys don't know, Amazon bought the rights to Invincible, but Invincible originally is an Image comic series, okay? Light spoilers, but there are some things that when the Amazon show did it, because of licensing issues, they weren't able to execute or do certain stories in the same way with certain characters. What I'm trying to say is, there is a major event that happens where you basically get all of the main Image Comics representatives in the story. And that does not happen in the show. What am I trying to say here? Can we find a way to get Witchblade, Savage Dragon, and Spawn in the game? If they figure this shit out somehow, if by the grace of God this shit happens, probably impossible. I'm imagining this is probably impossible. But if they found a way to make it happen, that would be a hell of a reintro. That would be a hell of a trailer to cut, would it not? The Image Comics DLC or whatever, the season pass, whatever you want to call it. I think that would be really cool.